okay, you're either going to draft me or you're not. If you don't draft me, that's your fault. You've got to remember you're the same team that's got to play me for the rest of my career, and I'll remember that.
All right, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Braggart. I mean, that's fine. Didn't Peyton Manning tell that to Bill Polian?
Oh,
Something like that.
Friend Peyton Manning.
I don't know.
I think he told that to Bill Polian. Like, hey, if you don't draft me, you're going to have to, I'm going to make you pay for this.
It is something that you look back on and you're like, no way. You're making that up. It is absolutely true. At the time when Peyton was coming out, so was Ryan Leaf.
Yeah.
And at the time, I think at that time there was 30 NFL teams. And it was legitimately split down the middle opinion as to who was the better quarterback, Ryan Leaf or Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Which you find now is to be completely laughable, but that was...
I mean, Ryan Leaf had a great college career. I mean, he was great at Washington State. So, didn't turn out well for him in the NFL. But Peyton said something like that to Bill Polian. And so I don't mind. I like that from Cam Ward. Hey, if you don't draft me, I'm going to make you pay for it. I believe in myself. I mean, that's not he's not saying he's going to the Hall of Fame or anything like that. He's just confident in himself. I want my quarterback to be confident in himself, to have a little bit of an edge. I like that. And I think that's the way he should feel. And especially when you play the quarterback position, you have to be a confident person.
Okay, you got to be confident, but is that, the fact that you're issuing a warning like that, when you haven't even played a down in the NFL yet, and you're already telling people that you're keeping receipts, that wouldn't worry you a little bit if you're a team that's picking in the top 5 and you need a quarterback? That wouldn't concern you a little bit?
No, it wouldn't. No, I got a lot of other concerns.
There isn't a
difference.
There's a difference between confidence and
hockey,
just
overconfidence,
arrogance, being a braggart.
Dang it. You set it up for me, and I missed.
You missed.
I froze again. You put me on the spot. I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to say the wrong word. He's going to be so disappointed if I say the wrong word. I had flashbacks to 8th grade year. Miss Cross. Miss Cross.
Miss Cross.
Oh, social studies. He was a mean one.
Was she?
Mean one.
Mean?
Yes. Mean
8th grade teacher?
Yeah, old school, old lady. Yeah,
I think
you had to know your parish, parish seats. You had to know your capitals, your capital, all that stuff.
I think everybody has that one teacher that they can remember who just was old school, just take no nonsense.
They don't have those anymore.
I don't know. Maybe they do. I don't know.
I don't think they do.
Like, I know mine was Mrs. Herlihy. Mrs. Herlihy.
Herlihy. How do you
Herlihy.
Okay, Herlihy. Wow.
Yeah, she was a
sounds like a mean one.
She was like an English teacher and just like as old school. She'd been like teaching for like 45 years by the time I had her as like a 9th grader.
Right.
And, scary.
That's the only one I remember.
Scary.
I think that's the only teacher I remember, Miss Cross. That was about it. And
I had a few.
Yeah, well,
Mrs. Herlihy.
You know what?
Mr. Hazeltine.
I was thinking because you talked about
Mademoiselle Hodgkins, my French teacher.
Oh, who? Mademoiselle.
Mademoiselle Hodgkins.
Oh, parlez-vous français?
Hello.
You know what I was thinking the other day, Mike? Because you're talking about, way it used to be, and then is it like that nowadays with these teachers? I don't think it is. You can't be too tough on these kids. So what I was thinking about the other day, and I want to just throw that out there and see if this is still a thing or not. Remember growing up? Well, you probably don't remember, but when you played athletics and you had to do
cheap shot.
You had to do,
okay, fair. I got you. Continue.
You all know, but our great listeners will. The ones that are athletes.
All the people that were athletes out there.
Athletes.
You listen, pay attention. I'm gonna sit this one out. Okay.
Ty, Johnny, I get y'all because y'all more new school than us. But when you were do conditioning and stuff, you'd run sprints in basketball or football. The coaches would always yell at you, get up, stay up, hands over your head, right? Don't get down on your legs, right? Hunched over, right? Just get some air in your lungs, right? So you stay up. So I was working out the other day, and I was tired. tired, right? So I had to take a little break, and I put my hands on my knees, and I'm like, that thought came into my mind. I said, I don't see anyone nowadays walking with their hands over their head anymore like we used to. Is that still a thing, or do coaches not even care anymore?
Ooh, that's a good question. So if you're a coach out there right now, or I guess if you're somebody who, you recently played high school ball or whatever, let us know. Is that when you have to run sprints and conditioning, are you allowed to, kind of bend over and,
right, because that was a no-no.
Pull on the bottom of your shorts type thing. Yeah,
that was a no-no back in the day. I mean, you would get yelled at. So do we still, if you're a coach, do we still yell at or just not yell, but tell them that you have to stand up and you have to put your hands. Do you get more oxygen? Is that a thing? Does that make sense? No, not you, Mike. Not you. You don't remember.
I hated conditioning.
But if your hands are over your head, do you get more oxygen that way? I don't think that's.
I don't know.
I think that was. I think that was a big fat lie.
I still have recurring nightmares of Coach Luciano.
Oh, Coach Luciano
on the line.
On the line.
Oh, man, when they say on the line, that's not good. Not good. Not only on the line, but when you're finishing that last sprint, the length of the basketball court, and you're coming back the long way, and you've just passed half court, and they blow the whistle again to let you know that as soon as you get back and finish, start up again.
Go again.
Oh, nightmares. Still have nightmares about some of those practices. Actually, let's see what we got here. It's actually, hold on a second. It's actually scientifically proven anatomically you get more air in your lungs when you bend over.
Wow.
Yeah, the science says hands on knees is better for recovery.
Really? See, that was a big fat lie.
It was a big fat lie. Huh.
And it hurts. It always feels a lot more better to
bend over.
Yeah.
Hands on your knees opens your lungs more. Huh. Okay.
I like that. Okay.
All right.
I don't know. That thought just came in my mind because I was tired. I said, I'm not, Coach Gagnard used to,
We're pulling out all the names.
Yeah.
But you all have your teachers and coaches. As we're having pulling our own names out.
Everyone has them.
You right now or in your car, you're at home, whatever you're listening, and you're like, all of a sudden you're starting to think about teachers. A name is coming to mind so easily. A coach's name is coming to mind so easily. Everybody out there has their own. Like Mark Schlereth, I'm sure, has his own.
From Alaska.
Stink, good morning. How you doing?
Good. I'm good. How are you guys?
So we're just reminiscing about teachers or coaches that you had as you were coming along growing up that you remember for just being really tough. Tough teachers. Like Miss Cross for Stoke or Mrs. Hurley for me. Do you have yours?
No.
No. Wow.
Yeah, not really.
You were such a teacher's pet that they all love you?
I was such a good kid. Well, one, I wasn't that bright, so they
didn't
really
care.
Nice.
They took pity on you?
Yeah,
Mark,
really.
Mark,
I was a really nice kid.
Do you remember, like, when you used to run sprints and stuff and conditioning that coaches would always tell you to put your hands over your head, right? You couldn't bend over when you were tired. They would yell at you. That's what I was thinking about the other day, and I wanted to bring it out and see if coaches still do that, if that's still a thing. But we got a RamosLaw.com text that said it's actually better. You get more air when you have your hands on your knees.
Yeah, but that was like considered soft. It was like you remember when they wouldn't give you water at practice? Like, you guys ain't earned any water yet.
True.
So there was that. There was a lot of things that were done back in the day to, to toughen you up and to make you appreciate what you had. And yeah, so I had, but I don't most of my teachers for the most part. I had a couple of, there were a couple of teachers that were real hard, real tough. But, for the most part, it was the teachers.
I wasn't allowed to participate in this conversation because Stoke thinks that I never competed.
He didn't compete, so that's why I wanted to ask you about the hands on the knees.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what they did in JV football, Mike.
See, here we go.
Were you allowed to?
Here we go.
Did they make you run sprints at the JV level? I don't know.
Open
They
the-
let Mike walk. He could walk.
Open the
sprints.
floodgates.
He
Here
could
we
walk
go.
'em.
Here we go. Here we go. But yeah, it's a true story. Now, I mean, for some of you, different generation, you're going to be like, no way, or you're going to laugh at it. Or you go, you guys are making this up. Seriously, like, you know, now getting water breaks is all the rage. Remember when Vic would do their 15-minute water breaks during practice?
Yeah.
Training camp practice would grind to a halt. Whatever momentum they had, gone, done. They'd have those long, drawn-out water breaks. But there was a time, folks, I'm telling you, where a water break was used as a punishment or motivation. You want a water break? Go kill yourselves for the next 15 minutes. And if you do it well enough, we'll give you water.
Yep.
And if you don't get water. And you'd stand there watching other teammates go get water.
That's a something that has changed for the better.
So a lot going on.
We used to, by the way, when I grew up in Alaska playing football, they just had a hose that was running at our practice. We just drank right out of the hose. I know a lot of you youngsters out there can't even imagine drinking from a hose.
There's nothing
but,
like
we
that.
used to do that.
Nothing like that.
Rusty.
That little
hose water.
That little metallic taste as the water comes out of the
Mercury.
hose.
And asbestos mixed all into one.
Yeah.
So let's get to what's going on. Stink. Tee Higgins. Franchise tag. This was somebody that we were talking. I know Stoke was talking about Tee Higgins months ago as a potential target for the Broncos. That's not going to happen. If you're looking at it from the Broncos, is that tough news to hear this morning?
Well, I mean, he's franchise tagged. He's going to make $26 million. He's not going to show up to training camp. You still may have to trade him. So then it becomes, what's his value on the open? Because his value, if you trade for him, he's going to have to get a new contract. So you're going to have to pay him, that whatever that going rate is for franchise tag guys, which is, an average of $26 million a year. You're going to probably have to give him $80, $90 million up front, whatever that looks like. But it's not going to be a first rounder. So would you give up a second rounder for Tee Higgins and sign him to a long-term big-time contract? And would that change your plans for Cortland Sutton?
Yeah, I'm not doing it. Nope. I'm out. Sorry, T. I love you. But I'm not giving up draft capital and paying you that type of money. We haven't seen him play as a number one. So I don't know what that looks like. He has missed 5 games in the last 2 years, 10 games total, 5 games in each of the last 2 years. So, no, I'm good on that. I think that seems like probably what Cincy's going to do is they're going to try to trade him, get a second or third round pick for him, and then re-sign Jamar and maybe Hendrickson.
Well, all right. How about this then as an option? A very productive player, little bit older, coming off an injury. Mark, I'm going to defer to you being the NFC South expert.
Okay. Oh, good.
How do you feel about Chris Godwin?
Love Chris Godwin. Love Chris Godwin because he's a legit big-time football player. And he's a guy that does a ton of stuff in the blocking game for you, in the play-action game for you, can be that underneath, dirty route receiver guy, the inside routes, the in-traffic catches, all those things. So, yeah, I'm a big Chris Godwin fan coming off the fractured ankle. He's just, to me, he's one of the best football players in the National Football League. So I'd be big into him. And then the other thing is, is he a guy that's going to break the bank because of the injury history and what he's coming off of? Maybe you get him a little bit on the cheap. I don't know, but he is one of those middle of the field receivers that makes a huge difference, Stoke.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I love his game. He can play inside. He can play outside. He's tough. He blocks. And, yeah, I'm sure you'll be able to get a little bit of a better deal on him than a guy like Tee Higgins for sure. And then coming off that injury, what does it look like? So I think you could re-sign Sutton and we'll give him a little bit of an extension and sign Godwin to a 3-year type of deal. And if that's how you want to operate there, but I like his game. He brings a lot to the table.
So it would seem then what I'm hearing is that going after a guy like Godwin allows you to bring in him plus keep Cortland, whereas these other scenarios we've talked about, whether it's trading for Garrett Wilson and then paying Garrett Wilson or signing and paying Tee Higgins, you do so with the understanding that you're making a huge investment in these guys, which probably means you got to move on from Cortland. But Godwin allows you maybe to keep Cortland and Godwin.
Yes.
Okay. All right. If you think you can do that, then that.
Yeah, you can keep Godwin and Sutton.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that. And then
I
continue
think
to
you
develop
because,
the other guys.
Mark, because what we talked about earlier is you got to remember, we took a $53 million dead cap hit for Russell last year, and this year it goes to 35. But then after that, we're done. We're off the books. He's done. And then we still have Bo Nix's rookie deal that we're working off of. And so our cap situation is going to be great. You could structure a deal where you give the signing bonus, a big signing bonus, and you take a little hit this year and the bigger hits down the road. So there's ways to structure contracts and especially be able to use the benefit of Bo Nix's contract in 2 years to your advantage.
All right, Stink, again, leaning on your NFC South expertise. Yeah. Nobody knows the NFC South better. If the Saints cut Taysom Hill, is Taysom reuniting with Sean Payton just too obvious a move?
No, I don't think it's too obvious a move. Taysom Hill is that joker that does. I mean, Taysom is a really good football player. And I know he was injured last year, right? He missed time last year. I had him week 1, so he was playing, but he missed time last year. But I'm telling you what, man, that guy lines up at every position on the football field. I mean, he'll line up like legitimately everywhere. Fullback, tailback, quarterback, tight end, like wide receiver. Like he'll line up everywhere. So he's definitely a weapon. And yeah, I think him reuniting with Sean Payton would be big. And I tell you what, the other thing, the dude is unbelievably powerful and athletic. And I know you guys know that, but like they have some type of kind of way to quantify how athletic and how explosive and how strong you are. And Taysom Hill was in pretty much every metric the strongest, most athletic guy on the Saints football team in every way they measure it.
So here's what makes Taysom Hill, I guess, kind of a unique case when you're debating the wisdom. Yes, he's going to be 35 next year. He's going to be 35. But he went to BYU. So you know how it works with a lot of the guys that come out of BYU. They're a lot older when they finally get done after their mission and everything. So he's only been in the league now, 7 full years.
Yeah.
So it's 7 years of football, but coming up on his age 35 season. But he's been pretty durable. This was the first season that he had injuries. He did miss time with the ACL. He only played half a season. But, man, if you want a quick little refresher about what this guy can do, the second to last game that he ended up playing this season, in a 35-14 win over Cleveland, he had 8 catches for 50 yards. He ran 7 times for 138 yards. And 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I played against him in fantasy that week. So that was unbelievable performance. But did you say he missed time with an ACL this year?
Yes.
Oh, he tore his ACL?
This year.
Okay. So he's coming off of that injury right now?
He's coming off an ACL.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. That was news to me. You just kind of threw that in there. I didn't realize why he only played half the season. So he had ACL surgery. Look, I would be intrigued because he is a guy that can do a lot, and you have to game plan for him. He's a good short yardage guy. And 1 year deal, okay. Other than that, I don't know. 1 year, $3-4 million deal plus incentives, yeah. But other than that, I'm out on Taysom Hill, especially coming off of the ACL. Going to be 35 years old.
Stank, would you be willing to invest a little bit more for him?
I'd be willing to invest just because he fills that role, and Sean just knows exactly how to use him. The other thing is, the guy's an unbelievable special teams player. I mean, he plays the entirety of the game, offense and special teams. Like he's a big time performer. I don't think I know that he's 35, but he doesn't move like he's 35. He doesn't have the wear and tear that most 35-year-olds have. So I would definitely invest in a Taysom Hill.
All right, so a lot of football stuff going on. One more for you, Stink, to think about. Von Miller. Von Miller, it is expected that Von is going to be cut by the Buffalo Bills. Would you be up for bringing Von back to the Broncos?
What is this? What's his like to play? Or
Yes, Mark, to play football.
I thought you were just going to sign him as like that retirement thing.
Like a one day thing.
Yeah.
No. Assuming he wants to continue to play, would you bring him back?
Yeah, if he's willing to play for something like a veteran minimum type of small contract. Yeah, and as a role player, sure, of course I'd bring him back. He's a Bronco for life. Would I bring him back? Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm not gonna.
So what if you're a Bronco for life? That doesn't mean you get to come back here when you're 40 years old and play football.
Right. Well, if you're doing it for next to nothing, and he's a rotational player. Sure.
No, I'm out, Mark. It's just time to turn the page, bud. Let's go find another nice young pass rusher. We got three guys that are doing a good job with Ellis and Brown, and not Browning, sorry, Cooper and Bonito. Let's just add to the group with another young guy and keep plowing forward. Von, he doesn't have much left in the tank. I get it. He could just kind of be a mentor type of player, but these guys don't need a mentor type of player. They've been playing 4 or 5 years in the league. They're good. I just think it's that era is over. It was fun, great job, but now it's the Sean Payton era now, and it's not time to revisit things that were great 10 years ago.
Geez, Stink. What did Von Miller do to Stokley? Remember, he wanted to trade Von, like still in the prime of his career, and that led to the very awkward Stokley and some other guy conversation. Yeah. I mean, what's
ever since that? Yeah, Stoke has been out on Vaughn. He and Vaughn had some falling out.
Yeah.
No. Actually, after that we did, and I think Vaughn was upset about me talking about the trade and trying to trade him. But it was actually because he was the best player on the team. It was because you're really good. And I thought it'd be good for him also and good for the Broncos, but he didn't take it that way. But we made up. We're good. But I just don't think it's not the right time and place for him to come back.
I do wonder, Stink, if a guy like Vaughn, he creates there's such an aura, right, about right. Vaughn and what he's done here. I just wonder if you're bringing him in as like kind of a rotational guy. If it's kind of like a secondary role for an outsized personality. You're talking about a secondary role for a superstar personality, and I wonder if you're blocking some guys from really either their role as a player or their role as a leader. If a guy like Vaughn with his personalities here.
Yeah, I would argue that he probably doesn't have the superstar personality anymore because he's not a superstar player anymore, and so. If a guy like that comes in and really helps, it helps that the pass rush and helps guys think about the game a different way, and and can all of a sudden have that kind of effect that a guy like DeMarcus Ware had. Mm-hmm. Like if he can come in now, I don't know that he can, but if that's a role that he's willing to play. Then I think there could be great value in that role.
Just go to the Pass Rush Summit. They'll be fine.
Yeah, you don't need to bring him here full time.
Yeah, just go to